What's going on?
Welcome to England.
Thank you.
Is this your first time over here?
Yeah, I've never been to Europe actually. Is Turkey Europe? Yeah, I've been to Turkey, that's it. Never been to England though, it's the first time.
How did this fight come together? Obviously you're replacing Darren Till on the card, but how did you hear about it? How did they come to you and what made this happen?
Oh, it's not nearly as cool as you guys think. I was leaving conditioning and my manager runs up and he's like, hey, how do you feel? I'm like, good. He's like, can you fight in 2 weeks? I'm like, yes. And he's like, you want to fight in England in 2 weeks? I'm like, sure. Who are we fighting? And he's like, oh, Hermansson. And I was like, yeah, I feel fine. There's nothing else going on. Let's do it.
When you look at the fight itself, is there any part of you that thought, you know what, this is a tricky fight, it's in another country, there's jet lag to consider? Any part of you think no?
I literally said yes before I knew I was fighting Jack Hermansson because my first actual question was, what are they paying me? And once he said that, I was like, okay, I was already in. So, I could have been fighting, I don't know, as long as it wasn't Yoel Romero, I didn't care. He's not in the company, so it's probably one guy I'm actually afraid of. But it's a tricky fight, sure, but, what's the worst that happens, guys? I lose. Okay, I've got 8 losses on my record, and I'm not really worried about that. So they pay me a bunch of money. I get to come to England, get to fight in O2. So why would I say no?
Without getting into specifics, how much more are you getting for this one than your last fight, percentage-wise?
I've at least doubled my pay. Probably more than double my pay. Yeah, why not? Yeah.
How do you see the fight playing out? When you say it's a tricky opponent, what exactly do you see him bringing to it, and how do you deal with it?
The way I describe Jack is a very opportunistic fighter. I feel like there's never... His base plan is to get the takedown, but what he does with it and how he gets it is more whatever he can latch onto, as opposed to having a set path to victory. So, the Joker nickname fits, man. He's very random, he's very unpredictable, so that's a bit of a thing you can't plan for. But at the end of the day, it's kind of lucky because my game plan is always pretty easy and straightforward. Keep punching you until I win or until the bell rings. So, what else am I going to do? I'm just going to keep punching him and just try to hit him.
Chris. You were up against an elite grappler last time out in Rodolfo Vieira, and you had sort of a floor is lava approach to the grappling exchanges. Are you going to be a little bit more willing to go to the ground against Jack, who he's kind of got sneaky good submissions, but maybe he's not renowned as being as elite on the mat as Vieira?
I still kind of want to play the floor is lava because I'm very, very, very confident in my submission defense. I've gotten 1 submission loss in 40 fights, and that was 10 years ago. I'm very, very hard to submit, but also Jack Hermansson's way more comfortable punching you in the face on the ground. And there's no point in getting involved in that. I don't want to play that game with him. Like we said, I think Vieira is probably the most decorated grappler in the division, or maybe even the company at this point. But I think Jack's a little bit more much more experienced as a fighter, and like I said, man, he's opportunistic. The Joker moniker fits. You don't know what he's gonna do. There's less of a plan and more. He's just I got this giant bag of one-trick ponies, and I'll just keep doing it until something wins. So we'll still play the floor is lava, but I think he's a better wrestler than Vieira, so it's a bigger risk.
Talk to us about your corner team for this one. You've got 1, maybe 2 notable names from this side of the pond who are going to be backing you up in the corner on fight night.
Yeah, man. So depending on how the commission's going to do it, hopefully I'll be able to have Brandon Lockman and Darren Till in my corner. Darren for sure. We're trying to get Brandon in, and commission's kind of you can't do that. We're can't we though? Come on, guys. But I've been friends with Brendan for a long time. We lived together. He's got kind of the similar story, and just a really good guy. And then Darren, I've known for about a year now. I met him in Kamzat in Vegas, and I was like, hey, I know it sucks you can't fight. Being injured sucks. You can't really think about that. But I'll fight him for you, and it'd be really helpful if you were around. It'd just be really funny. And he's like, yeah, sure. So that's how that came to happen. There's no giant strategic game plan. Afterwards, I'm like, okay, it is kind of cool. You do have knowledge of it. But my initial thought was it'd be funny as hell if Darren Till was in my corner. And he was like, yeah, he thought it'd be funny too. So. That's how that happened.
Last one from me, and it's not about this fight, it's about a fight that happened a couple of weeks ago. I spoke to you on Radio Row in Vegas about Sean Strickland and the tactics that he may or may not adopt for that fight.
Did not call. I was like, we don't really know.
You were bang on.
We know how he can win, but we don't know what Sean's actually going to do because he's a crazy person.
So how has the unpacking of that result been in terms of the team and how you guys have sort of gone through that, and what's been the reaction within the team?
There's no unpacking as a team because we all knew, like, okay, like Sean knows how to win this fight, but everyone in the circuit tour was like 50-50 shot. He comes out here and decides to kickbox. So we were all aware. It sucks to see your teammate lose, but Sean's aware that like he did this Sean Strickland's way. And like I told people, guys, like at the end of the day, you can't stop Sean from being Sean. And easy way to win that fight, but he's like, I'm not gonna allow my pride to allow people to say that I ran from him or we're scared. So Sean fought the way he wanted to. So it sucks to see your friends lose, but he accepts it. He knows what happened. It is what it is.
Chris, just going off of that, of course, Sean fought Hermansson before, so has he given you any advice? What's the preparation been like with him in the run-up to this fight?
It was really helpful. He fought Hermansson. The fun part of that fight was I was one of the even though I'm 5'10", I was one of the Jack Hermansson stand-ins. So I had to spend a few, like 2 weeks learning how to be Jack Hermansson, like certain entries and whatnot. So I think I know Jack pretty well at this point. Like, we have a conversation. I know, like, his likes and dislikes, like, like what he wants for dinner. So that's useful. And then it's always nice to have a guy who's fought somebody, like, around, just so like, this is what we're looking for. This is what I had trouble with. Me and Sean are very different fighters, but there's kind of some overlap. And, like, we've trained together for 6 years now, I think. So there's a little bit of overlap. It's been helpful to just have that. Sean's actually pretty good at pretending to be anyone in training. Like he's very malleable style-wise. It's just been really good for me, really good for my mental. And just we had 2 weeks to prepare against the guy who fought him. So if there was a best-case scenario, that's probably it.
Did that give you then extra confidence? Was that easier to say yes to this fight, knowing that you've kind of prepared for him already before with Sean?
I hadn't even thought. So here's the thing, guys. Like, especially around like 12 o'clock p.m., I'm mostly useless to people. But it's like my siesta time. I have to nap. So when I took the fight, I hadn't even thought about, like, holy hell, I've been Jack Hermansson for like months before, whatever. Hadn't even occurred to me until like later that night. I was like, oh, I went back to watch a video, and I'm like, oh yeah, I've been Jack. Like, so somehow I forgot all of that initially until later that night. I was like, oh, I did prepare for this. So I don't know, man. It's a fight. Like, I don't think I really need that much like confidence from the outside to do it. It's a fight. Like, I'm not afraid to fight. I like fighting. There's no fear. I've got 8 losses on my record, so there's no fear of losing. I've lost before. I'll probably lose again before it's all said and done. So you don't really have to hold my hand to get me to fight. I just like fighting.
And Hermansson has been or was training with Hamzat Chimaev in the run-up to this fight. Do you pay much attention to that? Do you read into that at all?
No. I've trained with some of the best people in the world. I, too, have trained with Hamzat Chimaev, Hamzat when he was in Vegas. Okay, it's cool. It's useful. Like, yeah, that's how we get better. But at the end of the day, unless they plan on jumping me, I don't really think it matters.
And last one for me, what do you think a win does here for your career?
That's kind of the one that's crazy for me, man. I haven't really thought. I've tried to avoid thinking about what comes next after this. But it's weird because people have pointed out, like, hey, if you win this fight, you can be like 1 or 2 fights away from a title shot. And that's just something I've never actually thought about. I've never once thought about it. It's never crossed my mind. I've never given myself the leeway to dream that far ahead and dream a step at a time. So that's kind of interesting, man. Like, I don't know. A win now puts me... Let me back up for 1 second. My goal, and I've always said, my goal in fighting was to go as far as I can go. I never said I want to be world champion, I want to be this guy. My goal has always been to go as far as I can go. Like, for my own personal sake, and for me, I can't quit before I got there because I had to justify the sacrifices that I've made and the people around me have made. So my goal has always been to go as far as I can go. And I think winning against Jack puts me in line to see just how far I can go. Puts me very close to the top, and that's more important to me than anything else. Just being close to the top and seeing, like, like how close to the ceiling am I going to be able to get.
Chris, right over here. Chris, I want
You're
to
not
Spanish. I know, right?
Are you British?
No.
Okay, like, do I know? I've seen you before, haven't I? talked, haven't
Yeah, we played the game at Radio Row.
God, yeah, okay, all right. I'm like, oh, you're not British at all. What's going on here?
I know, I had a long flight. Chris, less than 12 months ago from Fight Night, you know, regional scene, and now several fights into the UFC, you've built up a fan following because of the way you've taken the fights, because of the matchups and everything. How do you describe these last 12 months for you?
These last 12 months have been very exciting, but much the same. It's exciting because I've always wanted to be like in the UFC. My goal was to always get here to see as far as I can go as far as I can go. And I have had things go wrong at every turn to prevent me from getting to this point. And to finally be there is one thing. But after that, you know, not only am I here, I'm 3-0. There are people who like me out there, which is interesting. Like, it's new to me, and a lot of fan support. And it's been insane, man. Like, now I'm a co-main event on a card in England. So it's been a crazy 12 months. But at the same time, nothing really has changed for me as a person. I still drive the same piece of shit car, even though I've got a lot more money in the bank. I get up, I go to the gym, I go home, I play games, I sleep. Like, you know, I'm not doing anything new. The experiences are insane, but as a person, I try to remain the exact same person that got me here. Like, I have to work hard. I know I have to work hard, so cool new people, talk to all of you, do like the fan expo. I'm in London now. That's absolutely awesome. But as a person, my day to day, nothing changed.
How many more fights do you want to have before you're comfortable buying yourself a new car?
So I've never owned a new car. Never once in my life. Never once. I'm 35. Never once owned a new car. Got a new computer. And that was like $3,000. And I was like, oh, can I spend that? Then I'm like, you know what? Stop being cheap. I don't know, man. I don't know. Like, maybe like give like $500,000 in the bank and I'll buy a car. But I'll have to buy it and pay for it all out because I don't like having like, I do not like having payments on things. I hate having payments on things. It's 2022, like we're fighting for like last 10 years. It's a cash only enterprise now. I don't really do credit anymore. It's a cash only thing. We killed our credit years ago, so we're fixing that. So I will buy flat out a car when I have $500,000 in the bank. Until then, I'll drive mine until it explodes.
Finally, I did want to ask if you could expand on reaching out to Darren Till. When the fight was announced, you did acknowledge on Twitter that, hey, maybe some of the English fans might be a little disappointed he wasn't going to be here on Saturday to fight. So can you just talk about reaching out to him and just how his reaction was to everything?
Yeah, man. Darren gets a lot of... I'm over here breaking shit, sorry. Darren gets a lot of shit from the fans for this one. But, I mean, the guy's... Training with him, he works hard. Like, he genuinely does work hard. He cares about what he does. And when you work hard, you're going to get hurt. It happens. And then some people, it's a fight game. I always use Shogun, for example. $1 million talent, Shogun, but dollar store knees. Like, dude can't save his knees, and you know, he can't not hurt himself to save his life. So Darren's one of those guys, really talented, hard worker, but his body just hates him when it comes to doing certain things. He's got a lot of shit for this one, and I know the fans are really excited to see him fight at home. And they love him, you guys love him, and there's a lot of disappointment about that one, but I got a lot of support as well. So for me, I thought it'd be fun. It'd be fun for the fans. Like, hey, I know he's not fighting, I know it sucks, but you know, you can't change injuries. But just to have him here, let him still have that energy. And I thought it would be fun. I thought it'd be really fun. I hit him up, and he was down for it. Like, you know, I've known him for a little bit, so he was fine. So just why not? Like, people take fighting's a very serious business, but it doesn't have to be serious all the time. You can just do shit for fun, and I think this is just fun. It's fun for me. It'll be fun for Darren. It'll be fun for the English fans. So why not? Like, what do we lose? Because either, you know, I can Darren in our corner, I can spend another like $1,500 to fly somebody out from Vegas. I'm like, all right, let's just use Darren.
Thank you.
Hey Chris, what are the odds that you'll walk out to Sweet Caroline?
Are there actual bets taking place?
I think so, yeah.
I am not going to ruin it then. But, like, there are bets taking place, but like, it would be amusing, like, right? But then again, you know, I'm not going to say anything on it. I wish I could, but I'm not going to say anything on it.
And Tim from Sports Kita here. Just a quick question. What kind of car are you actually driving? What are you driving right now?
2006 Hyundai Sonata.
Ooh, that's a classic. That's good.
It's a great car. I got it for really I got it for like $4,000 when I moved to Vegas, which was nice since I've had it for like 4 years now. It runs fine. Like yeah, it's a piece of shit, but it's my piece of shit, and yeah, I appreciate it.
And the post-fight celebration meal, what do you want once the fight's done?
What time are we fighting here?
I think you're going to be around 10 p.m. It's going to be late.
So I do enjoy getting ice cream after fights, but like I've had my heart broken so many times from the regional scene because I'm always like main event. So by the time you finish, everything's closed. So I really like maybe ice cream, maybe some wings, some French toast, and like a frozen margarita would be like my ideal meal.
And one last one for you, and I know you probably don't want to answer, but who do you want next after this fight?
It's not that I don't want to answer. It's the fact that I don't know. I know, like, isn't Jack number 8? Sean is 7, so directly above me is my boy. And like, above that, I don't really know who else is in this division where. Like, I don't keep track because until this point, it was never a thing I was worried about. I was kind of like, okay, who can I snipe from the top 15? And winning this fight puts me in the top 10. I'm like, holy hell, what do I do? So we gotta do some reevaluation. My manager Lance is back there. This is a Lance question. Who do we fight, Lance? Yeah, Lance is being keeping it close to the chest. So yeah, we don't know. I have no idea yet. Yeah, I'll tell you guys on Sunday.
Thanks so much.